Have you ever noticed how your mind feels heavy, as if you're carrying clouds of worry and doubt that never seem to clear? In today's world, negativity clings to us through stress, conflict, and our own restless thoughts. But Buddhism teaches us something powerful. The mind can be purified, like a lake settling into stillness once the storm has passed. In this video, we'll explore simple yet profound practices from Buddhist wisdom that can help you release negative energy and welcome a calmer, lighter state of being. These aren't abstract ideas. They are daily tools you can practice right now to shift your inner world. Whether you're just beginning to explore mindfulness or you've been on this journey for a while, you'll find practical guidance here. From meditation techniques to compassionate awareness, we'll uncover how to nurture peace, clarity, and resilience in everyday life. So take a breath, settle in, and let's begin this journey together, learning how to let go of what weighs us down and how to create space for joy, balance, and inner strength. Lesson 1. Understanding negative energy. Have you ever noticed a quiet heaviness that follows you throughout the day, as if an invisible weight is pressing down on your heart? Sometimes it comes from the endless demands of work, sometimes from unspoken tension in relationships, and other times from a vague unease you can't quite explain. In our fast-paced world, this cloud of negativity seeps into us in many subtle ways, slowly shaping how we think, feel, and even how we treat others. But what exactly is this bad energy, and how can we begin to recognize it in our lives? Imagine waking up after a good night's sleep, ready to face the day with energy and hope, only to have your peace shattered by a sharp comment from someone close to you, or by a flood of anxious thoughts about the future. That invisible shift in your inner state is what we call negative energy. It creeps in quietly, but its impact spreads widely. Negative energy takes many forms. It may appear as self-doubt that whispers, "You're not enough," or as resentment that chains you to the past. It might surface in the constant stream of troubling news and endless scrolling on social media, filling the mind with fear and comparison. Whatever its shape, the effect is the same. It robs us of our clarity and blocks the path toward peace. Recognizing these subtle influences is the first essential step toward reclaiming balance. To identify them, we need to pause and notice what stirs restlessness within us. Which situations drain your spirit? Which thoughts return again and again, pulling you away from calm? When you shine a light of awareness on these patterns, you begin to loosen their hold. Buddhist philosophy describes this state as dukkha, the dissatisfaction and suffering that arise when we cling to negative emotions or resist reality as it is. Instead of fighting or suppressing these states, the Buddha taught us to observe them gently, without judgment. Through mindfulness, we begin to see that these energies are not who we are. They are passing clouds drifting across the sky of the mind. Understanding negative energy also means recognizing the link between your mind, body, and environment. Just as clutter in your room can make you restless, unresolved conflicts and unexpressed worries clutter the mind, disturbing your inner peace. Clearing these inner and outer spaces is like opening a window to let fresh air circulate. You create room for positivity to grow naturally. Often, negativity thrives in environments where imbalance is present, whether in the home, at work, or within us. By identifying where harmony is missing, we can make conscious shifts to restore balance. It may be as simple as changing a daily routine, creating boundaries with draining influences, or choosing to nourish ourselves with uplifting practices. It's also important to remember that each person experiences negative energy differently. What feels overwhelming to you might pass unnoticed by someone else. This reminds us that the path to healing is deeply personal. It requires self-reflection and honesty about what weighs on your spirit. There is no universal solution, but there are timeless tools that can guide you back to your own equilibrium. By diving deeper into this understanding, we begin to cultivate resilience, the strength to meet challenges without being consumed by them. This isn't about avoiding negativity altogether, but about learning how to meet it with clarity and compassion. In this series, we'll explore Buddhist practices that help us transform this heavy energy into something meaningful. Through mindfulness, meditation, and loving kindness, you'll learn not only how to recognize negative energy, but how to reshape it into wisdom and growth. When practiced with consistency, these teachings open the door to a mind that is clear, a heart that is light, and a life that feels harmonious even in the face of difficulty. Stay with us as we continue this journey into Buddhist teachings, where we'll explore practical steps to release negativity and invite peace into every corner of your being. Together, we can turn obstacles into lessons and negativity into the very soil where compassion and joy take root. Lesson 2. The Buddhist perspective on energy. In Buddhism, energy is not limited to the physical strength of the body. It flows into the mind, the heart, and even the unseen fabric of existence. At the center of this understanding is karma, the principle that every action plants a seed, and each seed eventually bears fruit. Think of it as a garden of energy. When we sow seeds of kindness, patience, and honesty, the blossoms of peace and clarity grow. But when we scatter seeds of anger, greed, or ignorance, the weeds of suffering soon appear. This awareness calls us to live carefully and consciously, knowing that our thoughts, words, and deeds are shaping our present and our future. Mindfulness, one of the most essential teachings of Buddhism, becomes the guiding light in this process. It teaches us to pause, to notice without judgment, and to see clearly the states of mind that give rise to either harmony or disharmony. When practiced sincerely, mindfulness reveals the negative energies that cloud our inner vision. It gives us the power to respond wisely rather than react impulsively. In this way, peace of mind is not something we wait for. It is something we cultivate, moment by moment, by aligning ourselves with truth, compassion, and integrity. Buddhist practice shows us that inner peace is not a passive escape from the world, but an active discipline. It is built through meditation, reflection, and ethical living. Each time we refine our intentions, choosing compassion over resentment, patience over anger, we redirect our energy toward a life that radiates joy and stability. Another profound aspect of this teaching is the understanding of interconnectedness. Our personal energy is not isolated. It touches everyone around us and echoes into the world itself. A kind word spoken in the right moment, a gentle act of generosity, can ripple outward in ways we may never see. This is why Buddhism calls us to nurture positive energy, not only for our own sake, but for the benefit of all beings. By uplifting ourselves, we contribute to the greater balance of life. At the same time, Buddhism clearly identifies the roots of negative energy: ignorance, attachment, and aversion. These are the forces that entangle us in dukkha, the cycle of dissatisfaction and suffering. By recognizing these roots, we begin the work of loosening them. Through self-awareness, we learn to release the grip of harmful energies and instead nourish those that foster clarity, growth, and compassion. The tools for this transformation are practical and within reach. Meditation that quiets the restless mind, mindfulness that brings us into presence, and ethical choices that purify the heart. These practices sharpen our awareness and soften our responses, allowing us to meet life with wisdom and love. Every moment becomes an opportunity. Even difficulties, stress, conflict, or disappointment can be transformed into teachers, reminding us to realign our energy with patience and kindness. Instead of letting life's storms drown us in negativity, Buddhism invites us to see them as waves that strengthen our resilience and deepen our understanding. By embracing this perspective, we discover that existence is woven together like a great tapestry, each thread connected to the next. What we think, what we say, what we do, these are not small or isolated events. They add to the collective energy of humanity, creating ripples that extend far beyond our sight. When we choose generosity, integrity, and compassion, we add light to that vast fabric of life. In the end, the Buddhist view of energy is a call to awakening. It reminds us that every thought is a seed, every action a ripple, and every moment a chance to align ourselves with peace and wisdom. By walking this path with awareness, we do not simply transform our own lives, we help uplift the world itself. Each breath becomes a prayer, each step a part of the journey toward greater harmony, compassion, and freedom. Lesson 3. Cultivating calm through mindful awareness. In our fast-paced lives, the mind often feels like a crowded marketplace, filled with noise, stress, and endless distractions. Thoughts about the past weigh us down, worries about the future pull us forward, and negativity quietly builds within us. Yet, Buddhism offers a timeless practice that helps us clear this inner clutter and return to stillness. Mindful awareness. Picture this. You wake up already tense, your mind racing with deadlines, responsibilities, and unresolved worries. Instead of letting the storm carry you away, you pause. You sit for a few moments, bring your attention to the breath, and simply notice the rise and fall of each inhale and exhale. In that pause, something shifts. The mind softens, the body relaxes, and the weight of negativity begins to lift. Mindful awareness, often called mindfulness meditation, isn't about forcing the mind into silence or chasing perfection. It's about observing thoughts and emotions as they come, without clinging, without pushing them away. Like clouds drifting across the open sky, your thoughts move on, and you remain steady beneath them. This gentle practice untangles you from the grip of worry and allows peace to re-enter your life. Modern research echoes what ancient practitioners already knew. Mindfulness reduces stress, eases anxiety, and strengthens emotional balance. But beyond the science lies its deeper gift. It creates a sacred space inside you where negative energy cannot dominate. Instead of being swept away by fear or doubt, you meet life with clarity, resilience, and presence. One of the most beautiful aspects of this practice is its simplicity. You don't need a temple, special cushions, or hours of time. Whether you're at your desk, on a walk, or sitting quietly at home, you can return to the breath and reconnect with the present. Just a few mindful breaths can reset your entire perspective. To begin, find a comfortable position where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes if that feels natural, and let your attention settle on your breathing. Feel the expansion of the chest, the release of the exhale. If your thoughts wander, as they surely will, acknowledge it kindly and return to the breath. Over time, this repeated return becomes a habit of compassion, teaching you not to fight your mind, but to befriend it. With consistent practice, a quiet transformation unfolds. You'll still experience stress or negativity, but instead of being consumed by them, you'll observe them with gentleness and let them go. This practice is not a quick fix. It is a way of cultivating patience and self-kindness, slowly strengthening your emotional resilience. Whether you devote 5 minutes in the morning, a brief pause during the day, or a few mindful moments before bed, consistency is the key. Gradually, you may notice yourself feeling calmer, more grounded, and less reactive to the storms of daily life. In Buddhism, this practice goes even deeper. It's not merely about relaxation. It is a path of insight. By watching thoughts and emotions arise and pass away, we begin to understand impermanence, the truth that nothing lasts forever. We learn to loosen our attachment and see suffering with clearer eyes. Through mindfulness, we align ourselves with wisdom, compassion, and the reality of the present moment. Ultimately, mindful awareness is an invitation to return home, to a place of peace that has always been within you. Every breath becomes an anchor, every moment an opportunity to heal. In practicing this, you are not only clearing negative energy from your mind, but also nurturing a heart that is open, steady, and filled with compassion. Lesson 4. Awakening the heart with loving kindness. In a world that often pulls us into stress, competition, and constant striving, it is easy to let negativity take root. Conflicts at work, tension in relationships, or even the small frustrations of daily life can slowly harden the heart. But Buddhism offers a practice so simple, yet so profound, that it has the power to soften those hardened places and replace them with compassion. Loving kindness meditation, also known as metta. Unlike practices that focus only on calming the mind, loving kindness invites us to actively cultivate warmth, empathy, and goodwill. It begins not with others, but with ourselves. Imagine starting the day by silently offering yourself phrases like, "May I be peaceful. May I be free from suffering. May I be filled with love." In doing so, you acknowledge your imperfections and struggles without judgment, planting the seeds of self-acceptance and healing. As this practice deepens, the circle of compassion naturally expands. From yourself, it flows to loved ones, to friends, to colleagues, and eventually to those with whom you may feel anger or distance. This expansion is not about forcing affection, but about recognizing our shared humanity, that every person has known pain, every person longs for happiness, and beneath our differences, we are deeply connected. Modern science supports what ancient practitioners already knew. Loving kindness meditation reduces anger and resentment, lowers stress, and increases empathy. It reshapes the mind, training it to turn more easily toward patience, forgiveness, and love. Over time, this practice doesn't just change your inner world, it changes how you show up in every conversation, every choice, and every relationship. One of the beauties of loving kindness meditation is its accessibility. You don't need a retreat center or years of practice to begin. All it takes is a few quiet minutes each day. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and repeat phrases of goodwill, first for yourself, then gradually for others. These words, when spoken with sincerity, become powerful carriers of energy, transforming the way you feel and the way you relate to the world around you. Imagine how your life would change if you entered each day with this mindset, meeting others not with suspicion or defense, but with kindness and openness. What if a difficult coworker became someone you silently wished peace for, instead of resenting? What if your own inner critic was met with compassion instead of harsh judgment? Loving kindness shifts the very foundation of how we engage with life. In a society that often values speed and self-advancement, this practice is a gentle rebellion. It reminds us that true strength is not in domination, but in tenderness. It reconnects us with the deep truth of interdependence, that our joy is bound up with the joy of others, and that every intention of compassion contributes to the collective healing of the world. Over time, as you return to this meditation, you may notice something extraordinary. The grip of negativity loosens. The heavy emotions that once dominated begin to fade, replaced with feelings of gratitude, joy, and inner balance. Loving kindness is not a temporary patch for life's struggles. It is a lifelong companion, nurturing resilience and emotional freedom. Now imagine a world where loving kindness was a daily practice for everyone. A world where compassion and empathy guided each interaction. Though we cannot control the world, we can begin with ourselves. Each act of kindness, each moment of metta, creates ripples that extend far beyond what we can see. As we close this lesson, remember, loving kindness is not only a meditation, it is a way of living. Every thought, every word, every action becomes an opportunity to embody compassion. By practicing metta, you transform not only your own heart, but also the energy you share with the world. This is how negativity becomes fuel for growth, and how suffering is transformed into love. Lesson 5. Liberation through compassion and forgiveness. Few things weigh heavier on the human heart than resentment. Think of the times someone has hurt you. Words that cut deep, actions that left scars, or betrayals that seemed impossible to forget. Holding on to that pain can feel like carrying a heavy pack of stones on your back. With each new grudge, the load grows heavier, slowing your steps, stealing your peace, and even harming your health. This is where compassion enters, not as a weakness, but as a quiet, courageous force. In Buddhism, compassion, karuna, is regarded as one of the highest virtues, a key to dissolving suffering both in ourselves and in others. To practice compassion is to recognize that all beings, ourselves included, are imperfect and often act from their own wounds and ignorance. Forgiveness flows naturally from this recognition. It is not about excusing wrongdoing or pretending harm never happened. Instead, it is the act of releasing the bitterness that chains us to the past. Forgiveness is freedom, the kind that unshackles the heart and allows us to move forward with lightness. Imagine again that heavy backpack filled with stones. Each stone is a memory of hurt, a grudge, a silent resentment. With each act of forgiveness, one stone is lifted out. The burden grows lighter, and the path ahead becomes easier to walk. Forgiveness is not always instant. It is a gradual unfolding, a series of conscious decisions to loosen the grip of anger and replace it with understanding. This process begins with a willingness, the simple choice to try. It requires reflection, patience, and above all, compassion for ourselves as well as for those who have harmed us. We forgive not because others always deserve it, but because we deserve peace. In Buddhist practice, loving-kindness meditation, metta, beautifully supports this journey. By silently repeating phrases such as, "May I be happy," "May you be free from suffering," "May all beings know peace," we soften the heart and cultivate an atmosphere where forgiveness can naturally arise. Compassion and forgiveness are not forced, but nurtured like seeds that blossom with care and consistency. History offers profound examples of this truth. Nelson Mandela, who endured decades of imprisonment, chose forgiveness over vengeance. His choice not only freed his own heart, but became the foundation for healing a nation. His story echoes the Buddhist truth that forgiveness is not passive. It is one of the most powerful acts of strength. When we embody compassion and forgiveness, we create ripples that extend beyond our personal lives. Imagine a world where arguments dissolved into understanding, where harshness gave way to gentleness, and where every wound was met with the possibility of healing. That vision begins with us. Each time we forgive, each time we extend compassion, we help weave that fabric of peace. In our daily lives, the choice to forgive transforms how we relate to others and to ourselves. It clears the inner clutter that blocks joy and makes space for calm, clarity, and resilience. Forgiveness allows us to reclaim our story, not as victims bound to suffering, but as free beings capable of compassion. In the end, compassion and forgiveness are not lofty ideals reserved for saints or sages. They are practical tools, accessible to anyone willing to soften the heart. They are gifts we give ourselves as much as others. To forgive is to honor your own peace, to open the door to healing, and to step into a life guided by wisdom and love. Lesson 6. Speaking with mindful intention. Every word we speak carries weight. Some words uplift and heal, while others cut deep and leave lasting scars. Think back to a moment when someone's kind words lifted your spirit, and another moment when harsh words left you wounded. These experiences remind us of a truth Buddhism emphasizes deeply. Speech is energy, and how we use it shapes not only our relationships, but also our inner peace. In the Noble Eightfold Path, the Buddha highlighted right speech as a vital practice for ethical and mindful living. It calls us to speak truthfully, kindly, and with purpose, ensuring that our words serve as tools of connection rather than division. Imagine a world where conversations were rooted in compassion, where words were chosen with care, bringing clarity instead of confusion, and healing instead of harm. Words are never neutral. They can be bridges or barriers, seeds of peace or sparks of conflict. In today's fast-moving digital age, where words travel instantly and remain online indefinitely, their impact is greater than ever. A single careless comment can trigger misunderstandings and conflict, while a thoughtful message can inspire, soothe, and bring people together. Right speech goes beyond politeness. It is about aligning the heart behind the words with compassion and wisdom. The tone we choose, the timing of our responses, and the sincerity of our intention all matter. A gentle word spoken at the right time can dissolve anger, while an ill-timed remark can deepen division. Mindful speech invites us to pause, reflect, and ask, does this word heal or does it harm? Practicing mindful communication means becoming peacemakers in both our personal and digital interactions. It requires us to notice when our speech is driven by anger, pride, or fear, and to gently shift toward kindness and honesty instead. This process is not only about external communication, but also about self-discovery. As we examine our speech patterns, we uncover the state of our inner world. The ripple effects of right speech are profound. When we consistently choose words that encourage, reassure, and uplift, we create environments of trust and openness. Conversations become more meaningful, relationships deepen, and negativity loses its grip. Right speech extends beyond spoken words. It includes written communication, body language, and even silence. Sometimes the most compassionate response is not speech at all, but deep listening. Listening with presence allows others to feel truly seen and understood. In practicing mindful speech, we honor the dignity of others and cultivate harmony in our communities. It is not always easy. Our egos may crave the last word. Our frustrations may push us to speak harshly. But mindfulness invites us to step back, breathe, and choose differently. Imagine what our world could look like if every disagreement was handled with respect, if every apology was genuine, and if every conversation carried seeds of compassion. The Buddha's teaching on right speech asks us to embody this vision, not only for the benefit of others, but for our own well-being. Because when our words reflect kindness, our hearts feel lighter, our relationships grow stronger, and our minds remain at peace. As we move forward on this journey, let us remember, every word is a choice, and every choice shapes the energy we share. When we commit to speaking with mindfulness and compassion, we transform not only our conversations, but also the very fabric of our lives. Right speech is more than a practice. It is a lifelong commitment to use language as a force of healing, truth, and connection. With each mindful word, we bring ourselves closer to inner peace and help create a world where understanding prevails over division. Retreats and periods of silence invite us even deeper. In stepping away from the noise of daily life, we meet the quiet voice within. Silence becomes a temple where hidden truths surface, where the heart remembers what matters most. Rituals of respect, bowing to elders or teachers, are equally profound. They remind us that wisdom is never self-made, but passed like a torch through generations. In bowing, we humble ourselves to receive guidance, softening the ego and opening the heart. Acts of service and community offerings transform compassion into action. Whether helping a neighbor, feeding the hungry, or supporting a worthy cause, generosity purifies the self by dissolving the grip of selfishness. What begins as a gift for others becomes a blessing for ourselves. Many practitioners also create sacred spaces within their homes, altars with candles, statues, or meaningful objects. These spaces become daily reminders of aspiration and devotion, small sanctuaries where the heart can return to stillness. Confession and purification ceremonies too play their part. In acknowledging mistakes with sincerity and vowing to do better, we clear away guilt and renew our commitment to walk with integrity. In honoring ancestors or deceased loved ones, we weave gratitude with impermanence, remembering that life is fragile and that every moment is precious. Other rituals honor the rhythms of nature, the changing of seasons, the marking of milestones. These remind us that we are part of a greater cycle, encouraging us to live with acceptance of change rather than resistance to it. Sacred art, music, and dance further deepen this connection, transforming creativity into devotion and giving form to what words cannot express. At the heart of all these practices lies the same essence: purification. Each ritual, whether grand or simple, is a vessel for mindfulness, compassion, and transformation. They anchor us to the present moment, clear away inner clutter, and align us with the timeless rhythm of awakening. To live with ritual is to live with intention. Every bow, every offering, every mindful step is a declaration. I choose to cultivate peace. I choose to practice compassion. I choose to awaken. In this way, rituals are not merely ceremonies of religion, they are ceremonies of the heart. Lesson 7. Sacred practices for purifying the mind. As we walk the Buddhist path toward peace and clarity, we find not only philosophy, but also sacred practices that embody wisdom in action. These rituals are more than tradition or routine. They are gateways to purifying the mind and awakening the heart. Each one is a reminder that spirituality is not separate from daily life, but woven into every gesture, breath, and offering. Take, for example, the act of prostration. When we bow deeply, it is not the body alone that lowers, it is the ego. In that simple act of surrender, humility blossoms. The bow is a silent teacher, reminding us that reverence opens the door to wisdom and that strength is found in letting go of pride. Chanting sutras or mantras carries another profound energy. The rhythm of the voice, the vibration of sound, resonates within us like waves meeting the shore. Each syllable is infused with centuries of practice, cleansing the mind of distraction and planting seeds of clarity. The sound becomes both prayer and meditation, lifting the heart beyond words. Offerings, too, are sacred in their simplicity. A flower placed on an altar, incense rising like a thread of devotion, or food given in gratitude, all remind us that true wealth lies in generosity. With each offering, we release attachment and affirm abundance, cultivating a spirit of appreciation for what is already here. Walking meditation or circumambulating a sacred space integrates body and mind in graceful harmony. Each step becomes an act of mindfulness, a pilgrimage within. Stress softens, and presence deepens as the soles of our feet kiss the earth with awareness. Even eating, often rushed or overlooked, becomes a ritual when practiced with mindfulness. To chew slowly, to taste fully, to honor the chain of effort behind each meal. This is not only nourishment for the body, but also communion with the world that sustains us. Some practitioners journey outward through pilgrimages to sacred sites, yet the outer steps mirror the inner ones. Each mile walked is a symbol of inner progress, of drawing nearer to clarity and renewal. Similarly, water rituals, washing a Buddha statue or pouring offerings, mirror the purification of the mind itself, a renewal of intention and spirit. Lesson 8. Walking gently with the earth. In the rush of modern life, it is easy to forget that we are not separate from the world around us. We are threads woven into the same fabric. Our inner state colors how we see the environment, and in turn, the rhythm of nature influences the tone of our hearts. To live in harmony with nature is to remember this bond and allow it to guide us back toward balance and peace. Think of the quiet joy of waking to birdsong, or the soft warmth of sunlight spilling through your window. Even a brief encounter with nature, a tree outside your office, the scent of rain on soil, the simple act of breathing fresh air, can dissolve tension and fill the spirit with tranquility. Nature does not ask for our attention, yet when we give it, we find ourselves restored. The natural world is a teacher in every season. The resilience of trees bending in storms shows us that true strength is flexible. Flowers bursting through frost remind us that renewal follows hardship. Rivers carving their path around stones teach patience, persistence, and the art of moving forward with grace. These lessons are not separate from our own lives. They are mirrors, urging us to meet change with trust and equanimity. Nature also invites us into mindfulness. Watch the intricate web of a spider shimmering in morning dew. Listen to the rhythm of waves against the shore, or lose yourself in the shifting colors of a sunset. In these moments, the mind grows still, anchored fully in the present. Stress melts away, replaced by gratitude for the simple miracle of being alive. Buddhist teachings remind us of our profound interconnection with all living beings. We rely on the earth for every meal, every breath, every drop of water. In return, the choices we make shape the well-being of the planet itself. To live harmoniously with nature is to honor this reciprocity, to take only what we need, to care for what sustains us, and to walk gently on the earth with reverence. You don't need mountains or oceans to practice this. Mindful communion with nature can be found anywhere: watering a houseplant, pausing to feel the wind on your face, strolling through a local park, or gazing at the stars at night. Each small encounter becomes a reminder that we are part of a vast, interconnected web of life. Nature also stirs creativity and awakens inspiration. Poets have long drawn verses from the mountains, painters from the shifting skies, scientists from the petals of flowers. When we allow ourselves to truly see, nature opens the mind to wonder and the heart to possibility. Spending time outdoors also weaves connections among people. Community gardens, group walks, and outdoor celebrations remind us that our relationship with the natural world is shared. These gatherings ground us in both belonging and responsibility. We are not solitary beings, but members of a greater human family, united by our dependence on the earth. Ultimately, living in harmony with nature is more than admiring beauty or protecting ecosystems. It is a spiritual practice of alignment, awakening to our interdependence, moving with gratitude, and cultivating stewardship for what sustains us. When we honor the resilience of the earth and mirror its balance in our lives, we invite peace and positive energy to flow through us. By choosing to walk gently, to live mindfully, and to care for the earth as part of ourselves, we not only nurture our own well-being, but contribute to a world that is compassionate, sustainable, and whole. Lesson 9. Nurturing a space of positivity. The energy of the spaces we live in deeply affects the state of our minds. A cluttered, rushed environment feeds restlessness, while a mindful, intentional environment nurtures peace. Buddhism teaches us that the world around us and the world within us are reflections of each other. By shaping our environment with awareness, we invite positive energy to blossom in our daily lives. One of the simplest yet most transformative practices begins the moment you open your eyes each morning. Gratitude. Before rushing into the demands of the day, pause. Breathe. Think of one thing, no matter how small, that brings comfort or joy. It might be the softness of your pillow, the sound of birds outside, or the fact that you've been given another day to live and grow. This quiet ritual plants the seeds of appreciation, and from those seeds, positivity begins to sprout. As the day unfolds, mindfulness can shape even ordinary moments into opportunities for peace. A few minutes of meditation, deep breathing before breakfast, or simply paying attention as you sip your tea can anchor you in calm awareness. These simple pauses create a foundation of clarity that steadies you through the busyness ahead. Walking itself can become a meditation. Whether you're moving through a crowded street, strolling through a park, or walking across your living room, bring attention to each step. Feel the ground beneath you, notice the rhythm of your body, and allow yourself to arrive fully in the present. This mindful walking connects you not only with the earth, but with yourself. Gratitude deepens when it becomes a habit woven throughout the day. Keeping a small journal where you write down moments of joy or blessings can shift your perspective in powerful ways. When challenges arise, this journal becomes a reminder of abundance and resilience. Acts of kindness are another way to cultivate a positive environment. A smile, a gentle word, or a helping hand may seem small, but they ripple outward in unseen ways. Buddhism teaches that when we ease the suffering of others, even in tiny gestures, we simultaneously ease our own. Each act of kindness enriches both giver and receiver, reinforcing a cycle of compassion and joy. Amid the pace of daily life, short meditation breaks serve as oases for the mind. Just 5 minutes of conscious breathing at your desk, or a quiet moment in the middle of a busy day, can clear mental fog and restore balance. These pauses remind us that peace is always available. It only takes remembering to return to it. Just as important as the practices we add are the influences we allow into our environment. The media we consume, the conversations we engage in, the voices we let shape our thoughts. All of these color our mental landscape. Be mindful of what you take in. Choose books, music, and stories that uplift and inspire. Limit the noise of negativity, whether from endless news cycles or draining social media feeds. Protecting your attention is a form of self-care, and directing it toward positivity nourishes your spirit. In the end, creating a positive environment is not about grand changes, but about gentle, consistent choices. Gratitude, mindfulness, kindness, and mindful consumption weave together into a life that feels lighter, clearer, and more harmonious. When we cultivate positivity around us, we naturally cultivate positivity within. And from that harmony, we step into the world carrying peace wherever we go. Lesson 10. Daily rituals for a peaceful and positive mind. A positive mindset is not built in a single moment. It is cultivated through daily care, like a garden tended with patience and love. Just as a plant needs sunlight, water, and fertile soil to thrive, our hearts and minds need steady nourishment through simple, intentional practices. Begin with your body, for it is the vessel of your mind. Eat nourishing food, drink water with gratitude, and give yourself the gift of rest. Move in ways that bring joy rather than strain, whether through walking, stretching, or any form of activity that makes you feel alive. When the body is cared for, the mind becomes clearer and the spirit more resilient. Start each morning by planting an intention. Before stepping into the rush of the day, pause to ask yourself, how do I want to live today? Perhaps you wish to carry kindness, patience, or gratitude. By naming your intention, you give your energy a direction, like a compass pointing you toward what matters most. As evening approaches, reflect gently. Look back over your day with compassion, not criticism. Celebrate the small victories, a kind word you offered, a moment of mindfulness, an act of patience. Notice the challenges too, but see them as teachers rather than failures. Then, let go. Release the weight of the day so you may enter the night with a light heart. Create a ritual of rest that prepares your mind for peace. This could be reading a calming passage, stretching your body, or listening to soothing sounds before sleep. When the mind winds down with intention, the sleep that follows renews not only the body, but also the spirit. Surround yourself with positivity, not only in people, but also in the spaces you inhabit. Choose companions who uplift rather than drain, voices that inspire rather than discourage. Shape your environment into a place of beauty and calm, even with small touches like a candle, a plant, or an object that reminds you of peace. In doing so, you create an ecosystem of support for your inner growth. These daily practices are not grand or complicated, but their impact is profound. They weave resilience into your days, helping you navigate life's challenges without being consumed by them. Over time, they transform into a rhythm, a way of living where positivity is not forced, but flows naturally. Remember, every sunrise is a new beginning. Each breath is a chance to start again. By embracing small rituals of care, reflection, and intention, you build a foundation of peace that nothing external can easily shake. In Buddhism, the path to freedom is walked step by step, moment by moment. By tending to each day with awareness and compassion, you align your life with that path. These simple practices become sacred. They are the threads that weave joy, balance, and clarity into the fabric of your everyday life. So as you continue your journey, carry these rituals with you. Let them guide your mornings, steady your evenings, and shape the space between. In every choice, every habit, And every breath, you have the power to cultivate a positive mind and a peaceful heart. Conclusion: returning to the source of peace. As we reach the end of this journey, let us pause and reflect on what we've uncovered together. Each lesson, whether it was about recognizing negative energy, practicing mindfulness, embracing compassion, or living in harmony with nature, has carried us deeper into the heart of Buddhist wisdom. And at its core, the message is simple: peace begins within. The mind, like a garden, flourishes when we tend it with care. With mindfulness, we remove the weeds of fear and resentment. With compassion, we water the seeds of kindness and forgiveness. With daily rituals, we create a rhythm of balance and clarity. Slowly, step by step, these practices transform our lives, not by erasing challenges, but by giving us the strength to meet them with calm and wisdom. Remember, you are not separate from the world around you. Each word you speak, each act of kindness, each breath taken with awareness contributes to the energy you share with others. In choosing positivity, you don't just uplift yourself, you ripple peace into families, communities, and beyond. Life will always bring storms, but like the trees that bend with the wind, you too can remain rooted and resilient. By practicing these teachings, you learn not to fight against change, but to move with it gracefully. You begin to see every moment, even the difficult ones, as an opportunity to grow, to soften, and to awaken. This path is not about perfection. It is about returning again and again to presence, to the breath, to compassion, to gratitude. Each return strengthens your connection to the stillness that has always lived within you. So as you step forward from here, carry these lessons into your daily life. Let them guide your mornings, steady your evenings, and shape the space between. And remember, the smallest act of mindfulness, the simplest word of kindness, can create ripples far greater than you imagine. If this journey has touched you, I invite you to continue walking it with us. Subscribe, share these teachings, and help spread this circle of peace to others who may need it. Together, we can build a world that reflects the best within us, a world grounded in compassion, wisdom, and harmony. The path is here, the time is now, and the peace you seek has always been within your reach.